Now we are talking about next level business acceleration. And that round is going to be led by Niklas Benesch. He's occupying the position of Head of Startups and Network of the Austrian Angel Investors Association, where he acts as interface between investors and startups. In addition, he's responsible for the education and training activities of the business angels, the area of organizational development and member management. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stage is yours.
Test. Yes. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to host today's knowledge exchange about next level business acceleration. And to begin with and to start with, please welcome the panelists for today's discussion. So to start with, let's welcome Hanna Wunsam. She is Managing Director of Austrian Startups. And Austrian Startups is an independent non-profit platform for entrepreneurship in Austria. Welcome, Hanna. Second to be would be Miriam Bubachta. She is a growth hacker and part of the Ventury and will tell us more about their program Elevate today. So third, where she is, there she is, Birgit Hofreiter, Director of the Innovation Incubation Center of the Technical University of Vienna. Thanks for being here. And last but not least, we got Florian. He will be presenting online, and he is part, here he is, of Aerospace Valley and project manager there to foster entrepreneurship in the French area. And I'm heading over to you. So to start with, founding a startup can be a hell of a ride with lots of troubles, lots of challenges, lots of hurdles. And there, having a partner, an accelerator and business incubator can be the one to overcome these steps, to overcome these hurdles. So to start with, Miriam, let's just tell us a bit more about your incubator Elevate, and tell us a bit more when is the right time and the right step to join your program.
Thanks. So we as the Ventury are running Elevate, our accelerator program. It's a 4-month program with 5 boot camps, and we help preferably early stage startups. That's where we see we bring the most value, to be honest, from basically validating their ideas to helping them grow. And we like to focus on startups that have an AI or machine learning focus, but in general, we're also open to other applications. And in comparison to maybe other accelerators or incubators, we help with hands-on execution. So every startup that is part of our batch gets like around 200 hours of actual execution time. So that's how we try to help one of the bottlenecks that most startups have, which is lack of resources, lack of time, getting faster to where they want to go to. So this is where we actually help with my team, for example, from the growth marketer side, or from our tech team with tech support. And we have run that program for 6 times now. And we had a special edition in our last one where we had the first corporate actually joining, as well as an entrepreneurship team. And that was rather interesting, and I can share some learnings later on, but for now I will hand over. Or
let's just hop on. What were the difference between the corporates and the startups in this batch? What were the learnings you took from this batch?
So we were really lucky because that corporate startup was at the very right moment with us, and they got the freedom from their company to really work full time on that startup. So they got the commitment and the backup also from the company. And so at the end of the day, it was really quite similar. They had the same challenges. They also lacked resources. They lacked money or budget, let's put it that way. And being with the other startups in that incubator really helped them as well to get out of their corporate mindset, get more into this entrepreneurial mindset, and have other sparring partners who are going through the same at the very same time. So actually there were really much more positive things than we expected, to be honest, as well. But as said, we were lucky because they were really at the right time, and they also got like the freedom from their home company to do that.
Thanks for this. So Birgit, give us a brief insight about your program, and it's a bit different with a lot of scientists and students joining it. So what about the I2C program, and what are your learnings you took from the last batches?
Well, it doesn't differ so much, I would say. In general, so the I2C stands for the Innovation Incubation Center at TU Wien, and we are the competence center for entrepreneurship, helping our students and scientists with their research results and ideas to bring them first to product and then to market. So this is the basic, the overall, but of course this divides into a broad portfolio we have, because we have different customer, let's say. So we have our scientists. Those are to be approached differently than our students, and we have almost 30,000 students at TU Wien. So there is also quite a bit of a potential you could tap on. And so therefore, for the student side, we started off, because just as a side note, 22 is, we are looking back at 10 years implementation work at I2C with our service portfolio. And the original vision has been to create their own entrepreneurial ecosystem within TU Wien that works and fits perfectly well with the ecosystem national and internationally. Of course, from university sides, we also have a very broad international network we can tap and to make best use out of it. So we have on the one hand students programs. One, for example, is our extended study on innovation for technical students, which is provided on top of masters. So we have really exclusively educated technical students, people where we actually can top up with the entrepreneurial mindset and knowledge. Here we have the 10th batch on the demo day on June 14th, so another event coming up. On the scientist side, of course, we have to distinguish where to actually, get them from. So you have the PhD students that on the one hand still belong to student sites as well, on the other hand are scientists. So then we have our scientists, employees at the university, and all of them bringing back research results that qualify for bringing it to the market and back to society. And that's where we help with programs. First, to lure them somehow into the whole program, to equip them with the entrepreneurial mindset, help to top up with knowledge they are not so familiar with, because they're all experts in their disciplines, but business creation, business values so far has not been the first goal at universities. So they are rather unfamiliar with, or have been. I really need to talk in the past tense now, because the beginning 10 years ago and what it is now is super different. And I can claim, okay, this is partly due to the I2C, but also to the development in the ecosystem. When we look back 10 years ago, where we started off in Vienna, and where we are now, so looking at Vienna up, where we are, part of this whole 1.5 weeks event series. So This is for sure. So, and there in the immediate time, so also 5 years ago, then we came into the domain of establishing also an incubator, where we then go into also very hands-on providing, because all our projects that go into our incubator are in different stages, in different backgrounds, where you, I mean, in life science, you can imagine you need more time than with, software. So, so we have really different hurdles and problems to tackle and support to give, and we pick them up wherever they are. Provide also with support over a period of time, where, for instance, PhD students want to spin out afterwards, but are still a year or a year and a half going with the PhD. So, this is also a time you don't want to lose them in this period. And then continue, if wanted and needed, actually going into an acceleration process. So we start pre-incubation or, making them aware of potentials until they can fly alone and don't need our network anymore.
Thanks for this insight. So let's hop on to Hannah. You're representing a broad network of entrepreneurs in Austria. What's your insight on this topic, and what do you as Austrian startup expect from accelerators and business incubators and the networks?
Thank you very much. Yes, Austrian Startups is an Austrian-wide platform and think tank for entrepreneurship. And before I joined Austrian Startups, I actually developed my own startup idea, and we also went through a lot of these programs. And I think what is really important if you're thinking of joining an incubator and accelerator is, first of all, to know how to differentiate the different types. So first of all, you talked about pre-incubation. So before you even start developing an idea, there are a couple of programs that help you in these very first steps. So for example, Austrian Startups has the Entrepreneur Leadership Program. So you learn what do you actually need in order to found a startup. Then there are incubators like the Ventury was talking about. So here you really get support with getting the first steps in place in order to build the product, in order to build a prototype, test your hypothesis, etc. And then if you already have your business, you already found it, and you really want to pick it up and accelerate it, then you go into an acceleration program. And there's another thing that is really important to think about before you choose one, is in which area do you need support? In which area is your business actually in? Are you actually maybe in the sustainability area? We had the last panel which talked a lot about how we need more sustainability also in manufacturing. So there are specific programs like, for example, the Climate Launchpad that helps you to build your climate impact idea. There is, if you're from the TU, there are specific programs that are specifically there that help you in order to build a spin-off, which again has quite different difficulties than other startups. So here really my expectation and my wish is that people take the time before they join a program to really think about and do their due diligence about the program and the people that were already there in order to see what is in it for them and can it really help them further. Because the most important thing is that you really work on your startup idea, that you get it further, and you wanted these workshops, and it takes a lot of time and effort to apply for the programs, to take part in the programs, that they really help you further and help you develop, and that you don't think, again, a workshop I need to go to. This is definitely not the point.
Thank you. Let's hop on to you, Florian. My question would be, you are part of Aerospace Valley. You are part in connecting more than 500 companies, big ones as well as Airbus, for example. And there you are trying to incubate the startups. There you connect them to corporates. Give us a brief insight on the Gazelle Accelerator and what you guys are doing.
Okay, so first, the Gazelle Accelerator program is a quite young project. It started in 2020. We have now done 4 editions, and the little difference between what we talked before, it's really an acceleration program and not an incubator. So what we are doing is really to accelerate business opportunities for startups and SMEs also. What we are doing basically is to first is to identify with industrial companies what are their pains, what are their challenges, and then we are trying to find the right startups to answer these challenges. But we are also doing another part into this program, which is also interesting for startups. We help them to find the right investors. So we have a bunch of partners who are helping us on this project, and yeah, we are making great connections between startups and industrials, but also with investors. So we have, but I will share with you maybe later a slide to present you what we've done since the beginning. And yeah.
Thank you for this. To hop on, we talked about all the things your accelerators, your incubators are doing. Let's focus a bit more on the startup side. So Miriam, what does a startup need to really get out most of your cooperation, and how should they focus and target, for example, your incubation program?
I think, we always look at the learnings and do also interviews with the startups. And I've been also incubated myself in the past as a founder. And I think one thing that is always super important is network. And I want to add on to what Hannah said. Of course, if you go into a specific field or an industry, or if the accelerator or incubator you're joining has that focus, most of the time the network is also stronger in that area. Of course, for example, for us, we sometimes also then use the power of the network in general to make up maybe if there is no specific industry connection. But I think this, if you're in startup and you want to join an accelerator or incubator, really seeing who can provide me a valuable network is one important thing. And the other thing is also, that was mentioned already, the right timing, because you get the most value out of every individual program if you are at the right step at that moment. Otherwise, it might feel like a waste of time for you, which is a pity for both sides, because accelerators and incubators try to provide as much value as possible, and the other way around, the startups want to get the most out of it, but you really need to meet at that perfect timing to have a fruitful collaboration.
You, Birgit, got a lot of researchers within your program. How difficult is it if you are looking at their ideas and their goals for the future, to keep them down to earth? Are there a lot of ideas they have to pivot and change immediately within your program, or how does it look like?
How come you think I have to keep technicians down to earth? Is there some, undefined rumors or something? No. Well, of course, it's the one way or other probably a specific clientele, right? So they are super smart, but of course the way they are, let's keep it as a word, as socialized within university, and their original goals and what they are here for, what they are doing in their day-to-day job is completely different, and therefore, they are at the beginning, of course, rather focusing on details, and before that, what always makes me smile at the beginning is to drag certain information out of them, because they know they can only say something when they know for 100% or 1,000% sure that this is correct, and not a wild guess. Whereas, as we know from the startup scene, they promise a lot, and then you have to do the technical due diligence if that can be kept, what they promise. So completely other way around. So yes, of course, we need to in specific areas to help them, to actually overcome this a little bit, to get them going. What they need at the beginning is also a bit of a support with keeping the overview and not to get lost again in details, but continue on the next milestone and steps needed to guide them a bit through. But, you know, as I said, they are super bright people, so they pick up quickly, and it's super fun and easy to work with them because what you say, this is, you know, reflected on and implemented. So this is nice, and this is energizing. At the same, can you repeat the question again? What you wanted to hear is because you know, the thing is the individual needs, and you need to help them, and also I think this is also something we all know right at the beginning, not to stop their motivation on certain things. So we have a super example, but this doesn't come out of the scientific world. This comes from the student world. So we incubated and we had Bird in our students program. And this is a super story because from day one on, back then, we kept telling them with Bird, it's going to be B2B, not B2C. Trust us. Be sure. You don't want to go that path. And it was really almost demotivating to them that we had to support them to walk the path and to have their own learnings till they decided or realized, yes, they have to pivot, right? So it's really sometimes, it's a bit like parenting. You need to know how far you can push them before they stop doing, yes? So it sounds a bit funny, but it is like this.
Thanks for this. Before I come to you, Hannah, Florian, just give us again or some insights and show us what you got and brought with you about the Gazelle Accelerator and the topics you want to share with us.
Yeah, so the Gazelle Accelerator program is separated in 3 different parts. Let's say there is the first part, which is the community booster camp days, where we are preparing the startups to with different mentoring, with coaching sessions dedicated, and then there is the second part, which is the B2B, B2F, and collaboration meetings. So each partner of the consortium has his own network of industrial and investors. So we organize the meetings between the selected startups to the program and the investors or industrials. And then we are doing a follow-up program to all the startups because we are tracking the evolution of the meetings. What can I say more about this? Yeah, since the beginning, we've supported like 82 startups in 4 different editions. We have created more than 100 connections. There are many NDAs signed between different industrials and yes, thanks for the slide. Yeah, so yeah, as I said, 82 startups were supported since the beginning in 2020, coming from 18 different countries. We've delivered more than 110 business or finance analysis to the startups. And as I said previously, we also, in order to involve the industrial companies into the program, we are asking them, and we are really insisting to get industrial challenges and pains, because we really want to find the solution for that. So yeah, since the beginning, we've identified more than 30 challenges from industrial corporates, and since the beginning, yeah, we did also 100 and more than 100 connections between startups and industrials or investors. What can I add on this? Yeah, for the industrial side, yeah. So
thanks for this one.
Yeah.
Just to round up the whole discussion, Hannah, I wanted to ask you, what is your vision for the future? And what should accelerators and incubators target, change, and add to their programs, like to foster entrepreneurship in the upcoming years?
Well, Our vision with Austrian startups is that in the future, entrepreneurship in Austria and ideally in whole Europe is as common as skiing, which means that actually every person has the knowledge, the skills, the possibility to solve their own problems, to build their own solutions. And I think that accelerators and incubators can be a huge stepping stone in order to make it actually available for a much broader mass to develop their own ideas, to solve problems. And here I want to follow up on one thing that you said. I think it's really important that startups don't get too much in love with their idea. They get in love with the problem they want to solve and with the area they want to innovate and to change. And I think the vision must be that much more people actually have this courage to say, I'm going to take the step and take the change. So really happy to get to know all of the ideas here later in the pitches still.
And to you, Miriam, what do you expect from other players in the ecosystem so that you, as well as the startup, get the chance to grow and to start their ideas?
I mean, I think in general it's a collaborative field, and I think that's also the ask that it stays that way. I think every single incubator, accelerator has its own place in the entire ecosystem. And so that the collaboration between us basically stays strong and supportive and does not become kind of a unhealthy competition. And yeah, that's my ask in that sense to the accelerators, incubators, and to help also maybe identify or help startup founders to identify the right one. Because maybe you get an application and it's a great team, a great startup, but it's not a fit to your own program. And really also pushing them to the right program might be something that we could do more. We are also not doing it currently in that way, but if I think about it, it would help the entire ecosystem.
And what are your wishes for the future, Birgit? Targeting other players, targeting the ecosystem itself, political wishes, what should be changed?
So I'm the third one here. Of course, we are very well aligned with certain wishes. This is also, so I share three wishes at least. So give me the three wishes. The one I would like to add on, yes, same way. Whereas in my position and our position, of course, we are here for TU Wien students, TU Wien scientists, and TU Wien alumni, depending on which programs they want to participate in. It's a question of resources. More resources, more opportunities is a no-brainer. So from outside push to us, there need to be a certain criteria met. The other way around, we of course do. And this is exactly also my wish that in the communities, because 10 years ago in the beginning, we all were helping together. We were building a community, we were building up an ecosystem. Now, of course, there is many players, most of them it's also a no-brainer, have a business model with it. Others are more in a philanthropic approach. And so it is about, let them live and live with it. So on the other hand, I would wish for, more cooperation, real cooperation, not lip services, and also give each single player the right to be in the ecosystem and also the credits for it. And with that, I would hope for, and this was one bullet point Hannah also targeted the one way, is I think in this period of time, it's time now to sit together again and reflect on certain things and what could be improved, or what is it that the market is settled and other things are needed. and especially with regard to collaborating, that of course we all want the startups and spin-offs to go to the market as quickly as possible, to be in the window of opportunity where they are, push them the way they need to go, and then it doesn't make sense if you have to undergo the same programs again just because the one or other program offers a funding, what you already experienced. And as much as I like different players to have their own wishes, we also need to stay down to earth. So as much as I appreciate politicians to jump on the topic and to use them also for their discussions and their political agenda, at the same time, if they have a wish list of, providing a certain number of startups and spin-outs out of universities, I would want them to also follow up with, supporting it in the direction that it's possible to provide those startups. So also give the fundamental support. I'm talking of money here, of course, with it. And what they also can do is certain eco players have targeted our politicians already with certain urgent issues, and it would be good if there would be also a bit more than just lip services, but more action. And maybe last but not least, be open and transparent with network, because actually it's the network, the major part, what's needed is the network, that you bring those startups and spin-ups to the next level. And I exchange my contacts, and I would hope for that others would do the same.
Thanks for this. And Florian, last words are up to you. To sum up, is there one or two major advices you would give the startups in order to succeed?
As advice, I would say, believe in your ideas still, even if you will have to pivot someday somehow. Believe in yourself. It's not an easy part. I didn't talk a lot about how to integrate an incubator or an accelerator, but I totally agree with the previous speakers that there is a right time to integrate an incubator or an accelerator. Try to target the right one as well. If you can also do a lot of networking with different actors in your city or over salon, etc., it would be also nice for you to get to know and develop your your contact. And I think if you are interested, or if you have a solution, product, or innovation into Industry 4.5, please let us know, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Thank you, and thanks for sharing your insights with us.